We're back. We had audio problems. So, but
this is Honey and Harry.
This is Honey and Harry. It's
third
live.
try.
This is, hopefully y'all can hear us now. Let us know. If Aunt Marianne, let me know.
Yeah, please. If anybody's tuning in, let us know whether you can hear us or not. I can see
your comments. So
you should be able to this time.
Yeah, hopefully you can. Somebody's out there.
Anyway, we're going to do the whole show all over again because most of you cannot read lips. So we're going to start all over again.
Yeah. So I wanted to start with that. The show is called "Happiness Is Not a Choice," or "It Is a Choice." Oh yeah, she said yeah. Can. Okay, good.
Cool.
You can hear us. Yay! So, but before I start, I had to say, I said earlier, from the Wendy show last week, I was saying how the salad bar was easy to work, and my friend Colleen called me like right after the show and was like, it is not, or maybe I called her to see how I did. And she was like, and that salad bar was hard. Everybody used to come and mess it up, and I can't believe you said it wasn't hard. So the salad bar workers, I know it's hard. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay, so.
All right, so I think what we'll do first, talk about some times when we were struggling to be happy.
Yes.
Or we found it very easy to be happy, and start to try to figure out, well, what was going on.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had a dumb anecdote from this past week, and that was I was on social media where I spend too much time. My phone reminds me every week on Sunday that I've spent an average of 4 hours a day on the phone, which is way too much. But I was, somebody's wrong on the internet. You've got to correct them, right? So I was out there typing back and forth with someone on messages and trying to get my point across, and I was failing, and I didn't get the last word in, so I didn't get to demonstrate my great wit and wisdom. And it's like, what is this worth? I mean, it was really about something that wasn't that important to me. And so for the next 2 hours, I'm grieving over this stupid thing. I'm going like, oh, man, look like an idiot, or, he's going to think dumb of me now. And so I was anything but pleased, happy, and copacetic at that point. And that was a dumb little thing. It was it of no import whatsoever. Not really a big crisis of any kind. But I didn't react well to it, and I didn't feel happy about it. So I got it out of my head a couple hours later.
Well, let's see. This week for me has been a hard week because I've been waiting on test results for my daughter, and so I've kind of been just a worry wart, a sourpuss. But what I was telling my dad earlier, for me, I get up, I can be happy during the day, I'm active, I do things, and you wouldn't think anything was wrong. But what happens when I'm unhappy or worry, I get sick at night. So like the past 2 nights, I haven't slept. I've been sick, bad headaches, stomach aches, those kind of things, and that's how it affects me. And I need to work on that. So.
Yeah, right.
I know. It's hard.
It's obvious that sometimes, the happiness thing is being affected significantly by something outside of us.
Yes.
Okay, and sometimes the happiness thing is like the thing outside of us is really nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah,
it's a nothing burger. But I'm my who I am, my disposition, whatever, my own personality is reacting pretty poorly to it. So,
yeah, I think we're doing good.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I know we all struggle being happy, but I'm pretty much an pretty easygoing person, I would think. I don't get too stressed out about much of anything, wouldn't you say?
Right, exactly.
I think I kind of just go along life. I mean, whereas, some people are more stressed naturally. That's just who they are. Whereas, I kind of roll with the punches a little more, which can be good and bad. But obviously, I'm not rolling with the punches with this because I'm sick at night.
Right. So I went digging a little bit this week and try to get somebody else's view besides just our own thoughts and insights on our own situation. Find out whether there's any kind of substance or science to this whole thing, and found a little bit of research out there, and we'd like to share a little bit of that with you. But I guess the idea is that some of these things are external. Okay, so if something's happening to somebody else, and it's affecting us, then that's like some life event. We got a child that's sick, or we got, we're having fusses with our spouse, or our parent has a situation or passes away. So even our health, although we think it might be endemic to us, it's really not. It's like what's happening to our body here. So health, relationships, finances, all those things coming from outside of us, and they tend to have a significant effect on us at times, especially if they're serious events and so forth.
Yeah.
It turns out that the researchers have done all this work on this, the happiness researchers.
Yes,
I
think it's so interesting because I know so many people, and like sometimes you see people and they're like, oh hey, how you doing? They're all happy, and then there's those people that are just not. They're just not always so happy. But I think it's interesting.
Yeah, and
neither one is like good or bad.
I have more than one psychology major in my family, so I know that they have thought about this and been exposed to some of this before. But the researchers contend that, the external events are really, just the tip of the iceberg of what really ends up affecting us most of the time. Now, we know we all have such events, but most of the time it's not these things. Most of the time it has to do with something else. It has to do with internal disposition, things like, our personality traits and who we've been all our lives. And those things don't tend to change very easily or very, very much sometimes. And researchers claim that those personality traits really are the dominant factor in how we respond to situations and how we think about things in terms of happiness and other subjects like that. And that the attitudes, thoughts, beliefs, and perspectives that are also important, they amount to about a third or 30% of what happens to us inside when it comes down to happiness. But that's the 30% that we can do something about.
That's right.
Okay, we have some control of that. So it may feel like we're victims or something from circumstance, or we have these genes and genetic makeup, and our this is how we're disposed. Yeah, this is how we're wired. That's a really good word.
Yeah, this is how you're wired. I mean, some people you just that's who you are.
But we can have a significant effect still with this other 30%. So what is involved in that other 30%? That's a good question. Okay, so how would we even affect that other 30%? Okay, so we were going to take a look at that a little later, but what we want to look at in more depth right now is this thing on traits, these personality traits, which seem to dominate the whole real estate right here. So it turns out that there are actually people who conduct assessments on trying to figure out what your personality traits are and how they might affect your outlook on life. And guess what Honey and Harry did this week?
Oh, look, you already put us up there.
Yeah, no. Yeah. You weren't supposed to know that that's who it was, but so we'll make sure that you don't know. You have no idea who these two people are right here.
But we're pretty similar just down to the bottom. That's what's so crazy about it. The last two we're very different. But at the top two, we're kind of the same.
Yeah, some of these words might not. They have apparently a specific meaning to the psychologists who do the test. But these are called what they call the Big Five personality traits, and apparently, if you have a high score in most of them, everything but neuroticism, then that's supposed to be maybe make you more open to a disposition of happiness. Okay, but it really doesn't. It's not how you. This measures how you're wired. So, for instance, a really good example is this openness thing down at the bottom there, where you see that Harry has 89 and Honey has 15. A very different outlook on things. And what it boils down to is that has to do more like with who's in their head and who's pragmatic. And we know who's pragmatic. That's Honey. And who's in his head sometimes, losing it sometimes, but in his head, that would be Harry. So
openness isn't what I thought it was, because I was like,
right.
oh my goodness, like I think I'm so much more open than my dad. And then it was like, then when you start reading about it, then it makes,
Right.
then you're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. That's true. I like things practical.
And,
Definitely.
The extroversion, both of us score relatively high in that. And it's not necessarily because, we're both extroverts, okay? But it's because we are outgoing in some significant sense and assertive. We're both, what? Firstborn children in the family, first child. So those happen to have a little more of a disposition towards being assertive.
And
so,
like you said, we wouldn't be on doing this if we weren't.
Right, probably wouldn't be here trying to do this.
Yeah.
Might need to rethink it anyway.
Gosh, we're doing good.
Yeah, that's true. And so if people are interested in this.
Just the computer stuff that's hard.
Yeah, the computer went crazy just because I pulled the plug out. No, if you're interested in this, it's called the understandingmyself.com. It's Dr. Jordan Peterson is the one who put this little thing together. He's not the one who invented all of this psychology, but he put together this site so you can go out and get measured and take a look and help maybe understand yourself a little more about why you struggle with one thing or the other, or why you succeed really well with one thing or the other.
Absolutely. I thought it was very interesting. I read it, and then the intellect one kind of like threw me, because I'm like, I scored low on that, but I'm not real interested in like going to an art gallery, or
Right.
I don't really like reading books. That's not who I am, but I'm more active. I like doing things. I've always been more active, so it's not a bad thing. None of the scores are bad.
No.
None of them are.
Now, even neuroticism, which if you're high on neuroticism, it means that you're subject to mood fluctuations and moody. That's not always necessarily a bad thing. It means that you can react empathetically to people. So, there are
No, I don't think it's a bad
strong
thing.
features to all of these and so forth. So I guess a question is then this 30%. What kind of things can we do that we have control over that can help us move away from being victims of our personality or victims of the circumstances that are happening to us?
And I had said earlier, my faith is one of the things that helps me when I'm feeling really low. And people who have faith, I think you can pray. Like I say the rosary, that really helps me a lot. Mom and you gave me my faith. That has helped me tremendously. I also try to speak positive things and quit like looking on the bad side. I try to look on the good side of things instead of saying, oh my gosh, this, and well, no, let's not catastrophize. It's going to be okay. Like trying to be positive, say positive things. And then I had that website that I found today that I'm on Facebook.
Let me bring that up for us here.
That I thought was pretty cool, because sometimes when you are having horrible anxiety or you're sad, get your Bible out and read one. I'm not a big reader, and you read those one verse, and you read a couple of those verses and you start feeling better, and you start realizing that God's with you. It's going to be okay. No matter what happens, you're going to be able to get through this. Being positive.
Absolutely. That brings
and that's
us,
a choice.
Yeah, brings us to the whole notion of, and I know I struggle with this because I like to catastrophize. I like to say, LSU will never win another football game in the history of mankind.
And I'm not like that.
So I easily drift into that. But one of the things that I understand that you can do and that helps, is the notion of, okay, if I stop talking negatively, but talk positively, then my brain gets to hear me saying those things.
100%.
And when it gets to hear me saying those things, it says, maybe that's really the truth and not you're catastrophizing.
Yes, it calms you down.
Yeah. And after you think about that way long enough, then you start to have the feelings that go along with it.
You start believing
And so
it.
it's very supportive of your a positive outlook on
Well,
things.
and I think that's why social media is so bad, and like the news is so bad half the time, because all they do, they never tell you anything good that has happened in the world. It's everything that's been the most terrible, god awful thing that's happening, and I just it makes everybody miserable. It's horrible. And then the other thing I wanted to say, because I said it when no one can hear us, is that I had two sets of grandparents that were very happy people. I mean, from what I could tell, were very happy, were very good to all of their family, very good to me and my brother for sure, all their grandkids. And they did not, neither one of them had tons of money. They didn't live in extravagant houses. They didn't drive, you know, these extravagant cars, but they were just happy. They were content. They were happy, and they loved their family. And, you know, as a child, my best memories are going to those two houses for Christmas and Thanksgiving and all those things, and just being with all those aunts and uncles and those grandparents. And you just felt such, like we were talking about with the joy.
Right.
I felt such joy in my heart. And it wasn't even, I could always say you're happy, but maybe it was just joy in my heart because, you know, it wasn't like I was getting all these extravagant things. I was just happy to be there. You know, I was just
Right.
be included and being loved. Who doesn't like being loved? I enjoyed
Exactly.
it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just loved being loved by all these different people. It was great. You know?
Yeah.
I like that. You
Yeah.
know?
Another thing I found that helps me is the notion of having like a routine or
Oh yeah, routine
a
is
set
good.
of habits that I get into that you know, like this is my day to go out riding the bike, or
Mm-hmm.
you know, some other situation where doing this thing regularly. Father Mark Goring on YouTube, I listened to him the other night, and what he had to say was, he said he just loves the routine because it's going from happy place to happy place to happy place. So it's things that we're familiar with, things we're comfortable with, things that
Yes.
reinforce our security and our safety and our feelings in a positive way.
Yes.
Another thing I picked up in doing some of the research here was there's another paper, and we'll put it in the show notes. And it was a paper on reminiscing happy times improves our outlook on life. And it's a
Yes.
clinical research study by the psychologist, right? But the whole idea is that it's good for us to think about the happy times that we've had. You
It
know?
is good because
Yeah.
we've had, I mean, we're blessed. We've had so many I've had so many happy times, and still going to have happy times. I know I will. Um so, but it's also an attitude too, you know? I think just having a positive attitude, like it changes everything.
Yeah, and this doesn't stop, obviously, the difficult things from happening, and
Absolutely.
things that we struggle with, and those are going to still come up from time to time.
But you know, it's just like, you know, I was telling you earlier, like sometimes when I'm driving my car, I'm at a red light and I see like the bus, like the bus stop, and I see those people sitting and I get so sad, and it takes everything in me not to say, just get in my car. Where are you going?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right? Yeah.
just get in. Let's go. You
Yeah.
know, like I just want to help those people so
Right.
much. And you know, they may be happier than me. I don't know.
Right.
You know, but like, and I know you can't do those kind of things, but like, you know,
But there are some things we can do.
but there are
for
some
others,
things that we do,
right.
and that's I like helping people. That's my thing. I really feel so good about myself when I'm helping someone. I just do. And you know, if I could just take everybody and put them in a little thing and just take care of, I'd just be happy. You know?
Right.
You know,
Yep.
it's like, you know, that's my thing.
And I think I put in the blurb about the broadcast that we would think about the difference between happiness and joy.
Yeah, yeah. That's I was bringing up joy earlier, and what I think joy, what we say, happiness is external. You were
Or it
saying
feels
it's like,
lighter or less significant than
and you were
joy.
saying like joy just is like you were saying, like a birth of a child, or
Right.
when someone gets married or something, there's such joy in your heart. That I think that, yeah, that is happiness is, I guess they're both kind of the same, but different.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. But I have a lot of joy in my heart. I do.
That's a good thing.
I know.
That's a good thing.
And I like to share it.
And that's a good thing too.
I like to share it. Now sometimes I can be in a bad mood too, but for the most part I can say I think I'm probably high up on the happiness factor. It takes a lot to pull me down. And also if something bad happens to me, I don't like to go back and revisit it all the time. I like to move forward.
Yep. That's that low score on the neuroticism thing indicates that. You just move on, man.
I'm moving on. It's like it happened.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
We're done. Let's go.
Right.
So, because when you focus on things that are negative, that have already happened, you can't change it. You're missing all the awesome stuff in front of your face.
Exactly.
And it's just, I'm not going to waste a day on something that happened. Who cares?
So you don't want to stew a little longer in it like me.
I like to sit in it. Mm-mm. I don't, because there's nothing you can do to change it.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you just cannot change.
Like I always say, the past is the past for a reason.
Yeah.
Hopefully you learned something. Move on. Start over.
And then
every day's a new day.
with that 60%, if it gets in our way and we struggle with it, you just forgive ourselves.
Absolutely. That's something you can't help.
That's who we're wired like,
No, that's how sometimes, you can't move past things. Sometimes it's horrible and it's hard, I'm sure. But I think my ADD helps me move past things.
That's a good thing then.
It is. Like it was a terrible thing in school, but it's a good thing because I forget.
Right.
So, well, hopefully everybody heard us. I can't read to see. I'm kind of far to see, but I'm hoping y'all could hear us now for the second time.
Yeah, I apologize. Trying to get used to this rig and how it all works. And if you lean the wrong way, you pull out a wire and then things don't work anymore. So hopefully you've heard this segment and redo of the broadcast. And we'll try to fix those technical difficulties in the future. And we'll bring you a great episode next week as well.
Yes.
And we're already working on identifying some people that might want to be interviewed on the show. And so we hope to announce that in the coming days as well. So y'all all take care, and we'll see you next week.